We are going to ask now Irene Scardia, Sarah Kelly, and Nina Grinman for the last session, a 30-minute session about how do we power the people. That's going to be, you know, a kind of a very good conclusion, because the all what we said about during this day, people are at the center of all our discussions. So now, how do we give power to the people? Using the content created by the employees, the gamifications, or all the alternative methods, all that to raise their engagement, and of course, always measuring the success and the effectiveness of the internal communication. So hello, Sarah. Hello, Rianne. Good to see you.
Hello.
We are missing Nina, but I think she's going to arrive in a minute. Let me introduce Sarah. You were the first to come in, so I'm going to start with you. Sarah Kelly is the Innovation Program Manager at Liberty Global, she drives a change through idea collection, influencing, and the engagement of Liberty 22,000 global employees. All that, and she's also working on lean startup and design thinking trainings that we were talking about in a previous session. Sarah, your true passion, you said, is about knowledge sharing and empowering employees. So I think we're going to have a good example of how you can empower the people with your pitch. Irene, you've been working for the 7 last years in communication. You have a deep interest in sustainability and CSR, and you always find the change and the new, everything about change and new is exciting for you. So good. You really like media. You work in media for years, and that's why you are now working at Discovery. You are the Europe, Middle East, and Africa Innovation and Internal Communication Senior Management Discovery Incorporated, and you've been doing that for 7 years. Nina, you were hello, Nina. Sorry. Good to see you. So Nina, you work for the United Nations. You're a policy specialist in digital strategy at UNDP. You said that power is that power is in the numbers. So I suppose that you are going to talk about how we can measure the success of all those initiatives that you have been working through at the UNDP. You said that especially at UNDP, the mandates are big, budgets are low, and the stakes are high. So it's only by including citizens, experts, and policymakers that you can develop a dialogue, and not only develop a standalone document. It's what you were really in is to have inclusive and all what can capture the real issues of people. This is what your main interest. And you have worked, you've put in place a lot of online consultation, and then these are help to empower people to have their voice heard, because this is really important for you. So you're going to have the floor for the next 30 minutes. It is, we've lost again. So I think you're going to be back, Nina. Anyway, so I leave you the floor, and thank you again for your presentation.
Great. Sarah, you want to start, or do you want me to start? I think you are on mute. I'm not hearing you.
Sarah, you on mute?
So apparently it looks she's not on mute for her, but it is for us. So if you click probably on the settings, then you change the microphone. maybe you can fix that.
Nina, can you hear us?
I can, yes.
Oh, okay, good. That's good you're back. Sarah, can you, just in case you would, you can hear us, but we can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, so maybe Nina or Irene, you can start, and then we try to fix the issue with Sarah in direct. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so if you want, I can start talking about the innovation program that we have at Discovery. So there's one thing we have in common, Nina and Sarah, and that's the name of our programs. In fact, they're all called Spark. In my case, in Discovery, that's the EMEA Spark Innovation Program. And that's a program, it's actually the largest innovation program at Discovery for the EMEA population to crowdsource ideas from employees to then improve the business. It's something that started all around Europe, you know, small programs. There was that need of having an innovation program, and we decided to actually bring all the programs together, take the best practices from every program, and then launch one big, consistent program. It's, in our case, the third year that we run it internally for the EMEA region, and it became basically an annual festival. It's like a spring festival. It's a program that lasts around 2 months, more or less. We always define a very specific challenge for our employees to solve, and it's always very related to our business priorities. That's important because people really feel the connection with the company and the fact that their idea can have an impact. So we generally open the challenge, we collect the idea. In that case, in our case, we have Workplace as our internal communication tool. So we run everything on the platform. And then we also had an integration through a chatbot to collect ideas. So basically people post the ideas on Workplace, then they tag our chatbot, which is called Sparkbot. And then they have a conversation with the chatbot to answer some questions, and then we collect all the information that we need. After that, the idea collection goes into a judging process. We have our business leaders for different areas of the business to judge the ideas, and the good ones are going then under implementation where we close the program. So here's where how we structure that. It's a very small team, but I mean centrally, but then we activate it, as I heard in other speeches, we activate, in our case, Spark Heroes, which are the ambassadors and the champions all around Europe that are actually supporting and giving a lot of help in rolling the program out. And I think it's a really powerful thing because it's a new way to engage people and feel them connected between each other, but also between the company. And I think these are some of the common points also with Sarah and then Nina. I don't know you.
Yeah, I can maybe go next in terms of explaining what we do. So I work at United Nations Development Program, and it's about 17,000 personnel that works around different areas around the world. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And so we actually launched the platform Spark Blue in June 2020. So we launched during COVID, which in certain ways was a good thing because it allowed us to really push that change management within the organization faster. Normally, I think a platform such as Spark Blue takes a little bit of time for people to adapt to it, but because of COVID and everybody being online, it kind of accelerated. So the platform that we have builds on many different engagement platforms that we've had throughout the past decades in the organization. And what it's supposed to do is that it has an internal facing and external facing component to it. Internally, it allows us to bring together our communities of practice, as well as allows us to conduct meaningful engagements internally to push the needle, move the needle for our policy and reporting and strategies that we do. And then externally, we utilize this platform to conduct either consultations or crowdsourcing or courses, etc., with our external partners. This is really where we talk about bringing the voices of our communities, the people who are going to be affected by the policies, the declarations, and the strategies that we create throughout the United Nations Development Program. So this really allows us to take them into account, put them in focus, and bring their voices together. The way we are set up right now is that we sit within a larger team which is called Global Policy Network, which allows us to really be at the center stage of UNDP and reach out to all different regions and levels. I hope that gives you a bit of an overview of what we do. Thank you.
Can I try it again? You hear me? Yay, fabulous. I am the least techie person ever, so to have that happen at the very beginning, I'm like, oh no, it's going to ruin everything. But no, that was really great. Thank you, ladies. I wanted to tell the audience a little bit about Liberty Global and what we do at Spark. So in case you don't know what Liberty Global is, we're the corporate headquarters for cable and internet companies across Europe. So we operate under brands like Virgin Media in the UK. So you'll never hear of Liberty Global as a cable operator, but Virgin Media or Vodafone Ziggo in the Netherlands, UPC in Poland, Sunrise in Switzerland. My role as the Senior Innovation Manager is to run Spark. So it's our innovation initiative, and we tap into the collective creativity is what we call it, and the collective intelligence of our colleagues by offering creative tools to tackle real business challenges. So we're getting ready actually to celebrate our 10th anniversary. So it's nice to have, you know, such a different variety of people. So a few years in and somebody just launching in 2020. So hopefully being able to share that experience will work out well. We started out as an Excel spreadsheet of ideas collected at a pilot in our Dutch local operation, and now we've become almost this Spark consultancy within Liberty, where we not only help business challenges through idea collection, but also do things like teach methodologies like lean startup and design thinking. We run loads of brainwriting sessions, especially online during COVID times, with different teams across the businesses for their business challenges. We offer concept evaluations, hackathons, design sprints. So whatever sort of innovation buzzword that's on your bingo card that you're checking off, we try to play part in it. Our biggest our open innovation platform reached 45,000 employees across 31 different countries. And now with shifting in business and everything, we do reach 22,000 employees across our 5 operations. We have a very small but mighty team of 3. And if anybody out in the audience, I know Irene can relate to this, has recently started an innovation initiative. That team is huge because you always start with like one person working part-time to see how it goes, and then you know, as it takes off, hopefully your team expands as well. So within the first 3 years, our team doubled in size from 1 to 2, and now we have a massive team of 3, which we're really proud of. And we're really proud that Spark over the years has become sort of a household name at Liberty Global. And yeah, I'm just here to share our experiences and answer any questions you might have about either collective intelligence or how we manage the programs within Liberty.
Okay. Are there any questions, or want you to share any other information with us?
I didn't know if there, I don't want to keep talking because I just talked, but I'm always happy to keep chatting.
Go on, Clara.
Oh, good. So we collect ideas in 2 different ways. So we, unlike Irene, who sort of has a big festival once a year, we collect ideas all year long in 2 different ways. So we run campaigns, which are 4-week-long, challenges where we have a very specific business problem that we're collecting ideas on. We collect ideas for the first 3 weeks, and then we close down ideation, and then we just grow the ideas for the last week. So something, if you're just starting out a lot of times people don't know the difference between an idea and a thought and a wish. So you really need a lot of time to put in, when they put in their initial thoughts, you need a lot of time for that maturation and growth. So we find that collecting ideas for very specific business challenges is the best way to get the most robust ideas that are actually implementable, because of course all of us, when we collect ideas, we want them to have impact on the bottom line of the business. And by really specifying what it is you're looking for, we find that to be the best way. But I also feel there's something quite beautiful about always having some place to take your idea. If you have it when you're in a pub with your friends, or in the shower, something comes to your mind. And then we have what we call open channels. And a channel is, of course, less specific. It's more for, maybe you have a product development, or you have a corporate social responsibility idea, or maybe even a facilities idea. We would have a specific channel where you can put your ideas in there. They're not always the most strategic ideas that we get by gathering through channels. It's sort of like that open suggestion box that you used to have in your canteen, where people just sort of dump things because they don't know what else to do with them. And because it's not a strategic business question or challenge that we're working on, those ideas can be a little more watered down than what we collect in our campaigns. But I do really think that there should always be somewhere where you can go and share your idea whenever you have one. Do you want to talk about your program as well? I know you do it a little bit different.
Yeah, actually, in our case, yeah, it's just an annual program, but our ambition is to make it become an ongoing process, because what we're learning is that, especially in the first years, it's not about getting business results from an idea collection program, but it's more about changing the mindset and the culture internally. So what we would want to do is get to the point where you just have ideas and you submit them, and just to improve the business, but then to make you have that approach every day in your daily job. Because if you think, first, you can always say what you think. Second, your managers and so the leaders will always listen to you, because that's what the program is communicating. Someone higher will listen to you. So employees who are listened are happier employees. And then they will have that innovative approach to everything. We also, that's another common point with Sarah in the Liberty program. It's about try to give them some methods, tools, learning and development materials to then grow also, professionally, but then on a creativity perspective, because we start with the concept that everyone is creative, or everyone can be creative. It's just a matter of unlock that creativity. And some roles are maybe too too strict, and they just don't train their creativity. But through design thinking or through other processes, you can get to a point where you can really get the best from each person. So every person can really give a big contribution. And another thing, it's about, we call that cross-pollination. So the more diverse is a group of people thinking about ideas, probably the better ideas you will get, because really having different perspectives, different backgrounds, it's a strong value. So it's powerful when it becomes to, in our case, regional, European level, but also global in other cases. So that's also a suggestion to the ones who maybe wants to look at these kind of programs. First, don't expect to have results the first time you do it, because it's not going to happen. And then, try to teach people what to do, because they won't know what to do on day one. Expect the culture to grow slowly, because we know that's a slow process. And then try to make them mix up a bit, because that's powerful, I would say.
Yeah, that's one thing that I would do different had I been involved in if I could do it all over. I would first teach innovation methods and then launch a program. So then you're already on the same page. We have a program called Matchbox, which is where it's our 2-day design thinking and lean startup. It's a mix of the two. Program where we take people away, we teach them Matchbox, we keep it all sort of spark and fire related. And then they get 8 weeks to work on their ideas, 8 to 12 weeks, and then we give them a pitch training, and then they pitch their ideas in sort of a spark pit or a Dragon's Den Shark Tank thing. And if I would go back 10 years, I would first start with at least getting everybody speaking some sort of language around a build, measure, learn cycle, either lean or now agile is big, or just get everybody on the same page. Because after a Matchbox, the quality of ideas that are pitched are far better than the ideas that we might just get through just saying, hey, give us your ideas. And that goes back to the thing that I said earlier, is that not everybody knows the difference between an idea and a thought and a wish. And showing them that structured way of thinking really gives them the tools to be able to take their ideas to a different than before.
Also, another thing we had to teach people is there's a difference between innovation and invention. Because every time at the beginning we will say, okay, let's think about innovative ideas. People has the tendency of generating something that doesn't exist. But sometimes innovating just means looking at the same thing from a different angle and just change a piece of it, or just trying to improve that to make it more efficient.
Yeah, I saw there was a question in the chat from Matthias, and maybe Nina, since you really haven't had a chance to say anything.
But we don't hear you, actually.
Yeah,
Nina,
your mic is off, Nina. Could you and yes, there is a question about what was your biggest challenge when you were set the some innovation program, involving the employees. What was the biggest challenge? And then Sarah, you almost answered the question, but if you could just take the question and answer it, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, there's many challenges. That was just like the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, of course, getting buy-in from top managers. So generally, well, at least in our experience, idea collection is sort of a grassroots initiative. So that's where we're collecting the most ideas, and that's the sort of director level and below are our biggest sparkers. So those are the people sharing the ideas most, but you need that C-level buy-in as well. So that of course is a challenge, first of all, to convince them to, hey, trust me, we're going to do it and there's going to have an impact. One challenge that we continue to have is staying at the forefront of everybody's mind. So that's perfect that we're sitting in a communications summit, because communication is absolute key to our programs. And nobody comes to work to check out what Spark's doing today. They come to work because they have a list of deliverables that they need to do. They have a job, and usually it's a full-time job, and it's full on up to here, full of work. So when our challenges come out and we say, hey, share your ideas with us, that's something extra. And it's very easy for them to either read our email or see a sign or hear something from us and then forget all about us. So communication is absolutely key, and it's not only just about communicating the challenge that we have at the time. We find a million ways to communicate so they don't forget that we exist. Our work isn't something that's handed to us, it's something we seek out constantly. So can we work with you on this, or what's your team up to now? So we communicate things like, what has come out of Spark recently? What are we up to next? Who have we taught lean design to? What challenges are we going to be working on this year? Where do we sit in the building? How can you get a hold of us? So we always try to find a way, and multiple ways. So it's not just email or intranet. I get a lot of traction from things I post on LinkedIn, which you would never think would be sort of a way that that internally people are saying, oh, you guys seem really busy, or oh, you guys are having a fun time. So that's something that I say when I speak at any sort of event. It's always communicate, communicate, communicate. Find a way to say something about your program so you stay at the forefront of people's minds. And maybe, Irene, you're probably experiencing that. Nina, you as well.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, maybe for the challenge for us is that, I work at United Nations, right? So it's a very hierarchy organization. So in terms of the way that you can communicate, your access point is very much straightforward. You know, it's just I respond to my manager, who responds to her manager, and so on and so on. So for us, what we're trying to do here is really make sure that people can connect across, because a lot of the work that we do is really related to what other people can do, or we can learn from each other. So for example, you can do something in South America in a certain way, and it could be adapted to something that another person does in, say, Ethiopia. So creating those connections and nods within the organization is really what we are what we're working on. I think the way we have kind of been able to pass this is really by that acceleration of change management, right? Because we had to go online, so nobody had a choice, and it wasn't as easy as me just picking up the phone and saying, you know, hey, remember that thing that you talked about a year ago? Like, how do I get to it? Now I have a space. It's not too hard for me to go because I'm already online. So that was very important. The other thing is, I think you already mentioned, Sarah, was management, right? One of the most important thing is you need to have that buy-in from your supervisors and the people leading the organization. If that's not in there, it's more or less impossible to push something like this through. So we had, for example, we're currently working on developing the next strategic plan for the organization. We utilized the fact that that is happening, and we brought it to an online audience. So we were able to, for the first time in the history of UNDP, have a collective intelligence effort in development of the next plan. So although not every single word that was put into that consultation will be brought into the strategic plan, it really helped feed into it, show the landscape internally, but also the landscape externally at the consultation. I'll stop there. Irene?
Yeah. I take all the challenges that you said, because that's another common thing. In terms of communication, which is very, very key point in the whole thing, I think it's important to really say what you're going to do also, because the point is communication tells everything about who you are, what you're going to do. So in our case, for instance, we were new, like we were a new program on the ground, probably together with many other communications that people are taking through emails, social media platforms, internally, intranet, whatever you have in your company. So in our case, we had to really capture their attention. So we decided to go for a communication which is really fresh, simple, visually strong, fun, catchy, it's young. So while scrolling everything you see in your emails or your social media, you will stop just looking at our visuals, because we wanted to communicate there was something fun, like come with us, you will have fun. So very basic if you want, because we just had 2 or 3 colors in the visual, very nice and particular fonts together with, say, young communications tools like icons or GIFs, something that could really talk to a new audience, and it's already giving you the vibes of an innovative initiatives. Also, I think you have to be the example as a person or as a program. So we're talking about innovation. So also the program itself can be structured and say the same from the beginning to the end, but I think it should evolve. So really be flexible and change your program considering people's feedbacks or what they really want. Because we wanted to show people that they have to be agile first and embrace the change, because that's something that's in the DNA of innovation and also of an evolving company that have to grow up instead of stuck. That's the small difference. So yeah, that's something else we learned, and I think it's good to know to keep in mind.
That's something we learned as well as far as branding goes. So because we are the innovation program, we didn't want to, and maybe this is the wrong audience to say this, but we didn't want to look corporate, even though we were a corporate structure. to stand apart from the typical corporate speak. And so we write all of our own communications. We don't really lean on that channel because we don't want them to make us sound like them. And so in our first, I think 4 years in, Liberty and all of our operations had changed brand as well, but we stuck with our original brand, and we thought, well, maybe it's time for us to refresh ourselves as well. And that was a great opportunity to then re-communicate that we are around, and because we want to always align with the corporate branding, but we still want to stand out in our own way. And we do that, yeah, similar to you, Irene, with gifts and things like that, and just finding unique ways of communicating. We had a campaign one time that we were looking for cash savings through either simplifications or smartifications. And so we called the campaign KISS, Keep It Smart and Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us might be used to that acronym, but what a fun opportunity for communication. So we actually created kissing booths, and I sent one out to each of my Spark managers in each of the countries, and I said, please set these up in a common area. And what I did is I ordered Hershey's Kisses from the US, and I had them, because I'm based in Amsterdam, and I had them sent over to Amsterdam. And I literally stood in our lobby in a kissing booth saying, hey, do you want to kiss? Nothing gets people talking about you faster in a company than offering kisses in the lobby. And it was a gimmicky sort of fun way to talk about what it is we're doing, but it pulled people into conversations. And then I could say, hey, have you seen what we're doing? Thank you, Elise, you want to kiss? Hopefully the chocolate one. It pulled people into conversations with us about, hey, did you see that we launched the campaign today? And that was one of our, first of all, it was one of the most memorable, but it was also one of our most successful campaigns. We ended up, it was a global campaign, so we did have all 45,000 employees on it, but we ended up collecting something like 176 ideas, but we had more than 10 comments per idea. We had a huge team that supported us in the back end, and it was just, it was, what a fun way to communicate. We've done License to Thrill, so a play off of James Bond. All of our communications was Bond themed. Yeah, we've had a summer of innovation. Our recognition programs are also very unique like that as well when we have recognition time. So yeah, communication is a huge part of what we do, and we always try to brand ourselves well and stand out a little bit from the crowd. Oh, it's unfortunate that we keep losing Nina right as it is time to pass over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I can share something else. Like I heard many times that my role look weird from outside because I'm EMEA Innovation and Internal Communication Senior Manager. So people is like, okay, but why innovation and internal communication together? They looks like two separate and far things, but they're not at all, especially when it becomes to program like this. You really think it see that it makes a lot of sense, because if you are only expert in innovation but you don't know how to communicate, then your program will probably fail. If you're great in communicating, but on the other hand, your innovation program is not enough structured, then probably you will fail again. So it doesn't matter if the two souls are in the same person, like in my case, but every time you want to approach a program such this, make sure in your team or through agency, you can bring both the skills to the table. That's something else that I learned from my experience. It was important.
No, I couldn't agree more. And that's what made, so in the beginning when it was just the two of us, we definitely had two different skill sets, because I come from a communications and marketing background as well. So, and he was definitely the more technical guy. And when he left and then I ended up taking over the team, I wanted somebody, not another me. I did hire a graduate once who was sort of a mini me, and I wonder if that's really what it's like to work with me. I'm a lot. It's a lot of energy and a lot of full on and a lot of, hey, let's do this. It was a lot. I was like, wow, is that what my team experiences when I so yeah, definitely having, especially because you're going to be such a small team, having different skill sets on that team. Or if you're going to be sort of the techie person and the one who is definitely innovation focused, really get to love your communications team very well and sit very close by to them and befriend them.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Nina.
Okay, good. So just maybe 2 points for me. One, in our team, so we have a technical focal point. We have me as an oversight and management. We have a communication and outreach person. And then we have somebody who its expertise is on online meaningful engagement. And all of those are very key in how we do things. And then going back to the communication, I like all the ideas you were mentioning, Sarah, in terms of the kiss and everything, but that would never fly in an organization like UN. I'll be out the door before I even get to say kiss. But for us, it's a whole different things that we have to consider. We have languages, so our platform uses Google Translate, and everything on the platform can translate over 100 languages. There's all sorts of different kinds of things to think of. So we have the ability for people to comment anonymously. And this is important when we do consultations or discussions around topics that are gender related or regarding racism or diversity or things like that. So I think we have a very broad, different kinds of aspects that we have to take into account. But I would just say that communication is absolutely at the core of any of these things. You can have great moderators, you can have great impact that you're looking for, you can have a great idea, but if nobody knows it exists, nobody's going to come to it. So internally and externally, it is a huge importance. So I don't know if my colleague Francesca is on the line here, but kudos to you, because it's an amazing amount of work. It's a continuously evolving. You have to keep bringing new things to the table. You have to be able to get to so many different kinds of people. So it's a tremendous amount of work, but every part of this is essential to us doing what we do and doing it in a quality assurance kind of way. So we're not just letting everything through, but we're making sure that the things that we put out there have already gone through our quality assurance process for us.
Right. And what you just said made me think of the platform that you use, especially if any of you are thinking of starting up, a program to collect ideas, is no matter how beautiful and shiny and gorgeous your front end is, which there's many, many companies that offer beautiful front ends, really focus on that back end, because that's what's going to make your innovation manager's life much more simple and to be able to run reports and to be able to follow ideas all the way through the process and to have a very transparent process that everybody can follow. But that back end, I know everybody wants to focus on, look at all the cool videos and all these different things that we can add to our ideas, but really, as the innovation manager, if you have a choice, really focus on that back end and your relationship with whatever company it is that you're going to go with for your platform, because they're going to be a great source of knowledge for you as well. So I don't know who's on the line or who's thinking about using whatever platform. I don't want to mention any names, but that is something that I think you should really focus on, is the back end of that innovation, because honestly, collecting ideas is super easy. Everybody's really willing to share their thoughts and their ideas and their pain points sometimes with you. But what you do with those ideas and how you collect them, that's the real difficulty in what it is that we're doing. I mean,
we always say in my area of work, we always say tech comes last. Because the processes and the impact that we're looking for should come first. So we normally say, look at the end result that you want and then work your way backwards. Yeah, and again, we do. Putting something on a platform, it doesn't take too long for us to do so. It's the easiest part of the whole process. Yeah, it's that quality, that impact, that meaningfulness that we're really looking for.
Right.
Yeah, when I did my master in innovation, actually, just to close laughing, until it affects. Because it's
Yeah.
always like that. Everybody is talking about innovation. Oh, we should innovate, but then, you know, sometimes it's complicated.
Well, that was really interesting, and then having you through discussing about those innovation programs, and you were the last speakers of the day, and I want to thank you, because the last slot is not that easy, but it's we all have a lot of information. I don't know how you were. You perceive this day, but myself, I have enriched my vocabulary. You know, these digital ninjas now are going to use these terms, or the change cheerleaders that I've heard before. I got to know new app like the Mars View or the Otter that was thanks Paul for this. We all had the opportunity to network with great professionals, and of course, we had wonderful speakers all the day long. It was a very, very interesting day. You know, this event, Innovation in Internal Digital Communication, we could have it at our last year or the year before, and I would take the a quote from Einstein saying, one of his students asking, Dr. Einstein, aren't these the same questions of as last year's final exam? And Einstein's response is, yes, but this year the answers are different. So I think it is exactly what we could say. We could have had this event last year, but this year the answers, all the answers are totally different, because we had the COVID, and internal communication was so important to get the people engaged, to get the people being, you know, having a business continuity at our business, whatever the business was or is. So it was so important to have that, and we need to innovate in those areas of internal digital communication still. Yeah. There's so many things to be done. It's a I would say a new the new frontier of the organization. It was really nice to have you all today, and just to let you know, all the presentations, the PowerPoint presentations that were shared during the day, they're going to be sent over. The recording, Victoria just told me that we need to get the approval of all the speakers, and then there's some, I suppose, most of the recording, maybe all, will be available as well. We keep the session open up until 5 o'clock today, 5 o'clock Paris time, London time, Brussels time, not London time. So, and or 5:30, she's saying on the chat. There is a competition. You remember, Victoria told us about this competition today earlier, and it's still going on. Why? Because now we are opening the networking session. You can still network with who you want, etc. You've got this possibility with the with Open. Also have a drink, and especially for the speakers, when you've been speaking all the day, sometimes you want to have a drink. So let's have a virtual drink. And then again, thank you for all your participation. Really big thank to the speakers, and that's the end of the day. Victoria, maybe you want to say something?
Thank you, Nina. Bye, Irene.
Thank
you. Thank you for having us.